Welcome to Monk's Temple. Find a comfortable space, perhaps you're sitting or lying down, ready to rest. Let the weight of your day soften and melt away into the surface beneath you. As you listen, let your mind become still and receptive, like a quiet lake in the evening, ready to mirror the coming stars. We spend our lives searching. We call this search happiness, peace, or contentment. We chase after it, believing it waits for us in the next achievement, the next possession, the next relationship. We run toward horizons glowing with promise, only to find, upon arrival, the light has moved further away. This chase is exhausting. It leaves us breathless, wondering why the joy we grasp is so fragile, slipping through our fingers like morning fog. What if we've been looking in the wrong direction? What if the source of light isn't on that distant horizon, but within the vessel that carries us? What if peace is not a destination, but the very ground we stand upon, merely obscured by layers of forgetfulness, like dust on a mirror? This is the heart of the Buddha's profound insight. He saw this universal chase, this beautiful human struggle. And he pointed not outward, but inward. He taught that deep, abiding happiness, the kind that doesn't flutter away with changing winds, is found not in the world of things, but in the quality of our own mind. A mind that is clear, like a mountain spring. A mind that is pure in its natural, unclouded state. Our journey here is not about adding more to your life. It is about gently learning to see what is already there. It is about clearing the dust. Let me share a story from my early days at the temple. I was young and impatient for wisdom. I saw enlightenment as a mountain to conquer. I would sit in rigid meditation, my mind a furious checklist. Am I focused? Is my back straight? Where is the insight? I treated my own mind as an opponent. One afternoon, the old head monk found me scowling in the garden. "You look like a man trying to bite his own teeth," he said gently. I confessed my struggle. I am trying to purify my mind, but it is only noise. I am trying to find peace, but I only find my own failure. He pointed to a small, muddy pond. The water was cloudy from recent rain. "See this pond," he said. "You are like a person standing in that murky water, thrashing about, trying to grab handfuls of water to make it clear. Each handful you splash only stirs up more mud." I watched the murky water. What should I do? "Step out of the pond," he said softly. "Just step out. Sit on the bank. Stop adding agitation. The mud is not the water's true nature. It is sediment, temporarily suspended. If you stop thrashing, if you simply allow, nature will act. The sediment will settle on its own. And what will be revealed? The water's innate clarity. It was always clear. It was only ever clouded by temporary conditions. That day, I understood. The frantic pursuit of happiness is like thrashing in the muddy pond. We stir up our own sediment, our cravings, our aversions, and then despair we cannot see. The first practice, the most radical act, is often to simply stop. To step out of the struggle. To allow the natural settling to begin. Our true work starts not with force, but with allowing. Not with grasping, but with releasing. If what you're hearing resonates, if you feel a quiet yes within, consider subscribing to Monk's Temple. By joining our community, you allow us to continue creating these deep dives into peace, these explorations of the quiet mind. Your subscription is a signal in the noise, a vote for stillness. It helps us immeasurably. Thank you. Now, let us explore this settling. Let's talk about the nature of the sediment. The Buddha taught our suffering arises from a cause called tanha, craving, or thirst. It's an endless wanting for things to be other than they are. We thirst for pleasant feelings to continue, for unpleasant ones to vanish, for security, praise, outcomes. Beneath it all, we thirst for a fixed, permanent self to own these experiences. This thirst is the agitator of our pond. It is the hand that constantly stirs. But what is its origin? The Buddha traced it to a fundamental misperception. We see through a lens of separation, me here, the world out there. Things to pull toward me, things to push away. This sense of a solid, separate self fuels all craving and aversion. Yet, is this self as solid as it feels? Let's gently inquire. You have a name, a history, a body. These are stories of you. But look closely. The body is a process, constantly changing. Thoughts arise and pass like weather. Emotions flow like currents. Where in this flowing change can you locate a permanent self? Is it in the breath? A thought? A feeling? Pause. Look. Can you find the central headquarters of you? You likely find only experience itself. Seeing, hearing, feeling. But a solid owner? It becomes elusive. The Buddha's revelation was that this separate self is not reality, but a construct, a deeply ingrained story. It is the root of the mud. Understanding this begins to change everything. If there's no solid me to protect, much frantic activity loses its fuel. The pond begins to settle. One of the most beautiful practices for dissolving this sense of separation is the cultivation of generosity, or dana. We often think of giving as a transaction. I give, and I feel good, or I expect something back. The Buddhist practice of dana is far more radical. It is the conscious unraveling of the ideas of giver and receiver. I learned this not from scripture, but from a woman named Amara in a nearby village. She lived in what many would call poverty, a simple home, few possessions. Yet, her space radiated warmth. Every single day, she cooked a little extra. A traveler, a neighbor, a stray dog, she would offer a portion from a small, weathered bowl. I asked her, Amara, you have so little. Why give so consistently? She smiled. Oh, it is not I who gives, she said, her voice soft. Look. She pointed to the gathering clouds. The cloud does not say, I am giving rain to the earth. The sun does not announce, I am giving light. They simply are, and in their being, giving happens. The rice is here. The hunger is there. My hands are just a meeting point. When I put food in the bowl, I am not a giver. I am part of the movement of care through the world. The real joy, she said, her face glowing, is watching the separation disappear. For a moment, there is no poor Amara and hungry stranger. There is just nourishment happening. That is the essence of dana. It is not an act of a magnanimous self. It is the practice of eroding the walls of the self. Every genuine act of giving, expecting nothing, is a crack in the prison of separation. It is a direct taste of interconnectedness. The happiness that arises is not the pleasure of pride, I did good, but the profound peace of unity. It is the happiness of the cloud, simply reigning. This happiness is long-lasting because it doesn't belong to a fragile self that can lose it. It belongs to the fabric of reality, which you have momentarily allowed yourself to embody. But our path also leads into shadowed forests, places where we've been hurt, or caused hurt. Here, the sediment is thick: resentment, guilt, shame. The practice that addresses this is forgiveness. We often misunderstand forgiveness. We think it means saying a harmful action was okay. That is a tragic error that keeps many trapped. Forgiveness, in the deepest sense, has nothing to do with the other person. It is about the weight you are carrying. Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. Clinging to guilt is like walking through life with a corpse from the past on your back. Forgiveness is putting down the poison. It is unstrapping the corpse and laying it gently to rest. You are not saying the poison was nutritious. You are choosing, for your own sake, to stop carrying it. I had a student, Leo, who carried a deep resentment towards his stern, critical father. His whole life was a silent rebellion against this ghost. He was successful but joyless, rigid, constantly trying to prove he was enough. At a retreat, he resisted. "He doesn't deserve my forgiveness," Leo said, jaw tight. "What he did was wrong." "I am not asking you to give him a gift," I said. "I am asking you to examine what you are holding. Feel your body. The tension in your jaw, your shoulders. That is the resentment, living inside you as physical tension. Your father may be miles away, unaware. But you are here, carrying the museum of your hurt every second. Who is imprisoned?" Leo closed his eyes. I guided him to feel the sensation of the resentment itself, the heat, the tight coil. Don't judge it. Just feel it. This is the poison you are drinking. After a long time, tears came. "I am so tired," he whispered. "So tired of carrying him." Then, I said softly, "Can you offer forgiveness to the young boy still inside you, who has carried this for so long? Can you forgive that boy for believing he was not enough? Can you offer him the kindness his father could not?" That was the key. Forgiveness often starts with the one in the mirror. Leo spent days forgiving himself. For his anger, his need, his belief in his own inadequacy. Months later, he saw his father. The old man made a critical remark. For the first time, Leo felt nothing. No surge of anger. He just saw a frail man trapped in his own patterns. He felt compassion for the suffering that must fuel it. He smiled and changed the subject. The prison door had opened. That is the happiness of forgiveness. It is the happiness of unburdening. Let me tell you another story, about a painter named Alara. She was famed for her beautiful, precise landscapes. She sought to capture perfect stillness. But she was perpetually anxious, fearing her next work wouldn't match her last. Her happiness was tied to each painting's reception. One season, a strange blight affected the trees near her studio. The leaves, usually vibrant, became mottled with unpredictable patterns of gold and decay. Alara was devastated. Her perfect subject was ruined. For weeks, she didn't paint, staring in frustration at the imperfect trees. Finally, exhausted by her own resistance, she gave up. She stopped trying to paint a perfect tree and instead decided to simply paint what was before her, the actual, blotchy, dying and living leaves. As she did, her brushstrokes loosened. She mixed colors she'd never used. She wasn't painting an idea of beauty anymore, she was having a conversation with reality. The resulting painting was unlike anything she'd done. It was dynamic, raw, deeply moving. When she showed it, people were silent, then spoke of feeling the truth of change, the beauty of resilience. Elara realized her previous happiness had been brittle, dependent on control and praise. The happiness she felt now was different, a resilient contentment that came not from capturing perfection, but from embracing the truth of things as they are, in their flawed, transient beauty. She had accepted reality, and in that acceptance, found a deeper source of inspiration and peace. These practices, generosity, forgiveness, acceptance, all purify the mind. They allow the sediment to settle. But what is the purified mind like? It is vividly alive, clear, and responsive. It meets reality as it is. Life, by its nature, is anicca, impermanent. It is dukkha, subject to stress when we cling to the changing. It is anatta, not self. To fight this is to fight gravity. Acceptance is not resignation. It is saying, this is the current reality of this moment. Fighting the fact of its occurrence is useless pain added on top of the original pain. From this clear seeing of what is, wise action can arise. Imagine coming to a wide, rushing river blocking your path. You can stand on the bank, screaming, "Go away. This isn't fair. This changes nothing about the river." Or, you can accept, there is a river. It is wide. It is rushing. From that calm ground, you can look for a bridge, build a raft, or wait. Acceptance is the foundation of effective action and peace. My teacher once placed a jagged stone in my palm. "Your task," he said, "is not to hate it for being sharp, or wish it were smooth. Your task is to hold it, to know its sharpness completely, without adding a story of aversion." I held it for hours. At first, it was agony, a metaphor for all problems. But as I stayed with the raw sensation, the story fell away. The pain became just an array of pressure points. The stone hadn't changed. My relationship to it had. That is acceptance. As our mind settles through acceptance, we cultivate the space for a more profound awareness to emerge. This is mindfulness, or sati, the gentle, continuous return to present moment experience. It is the anchor that keeps us from being swept away by the torrent of thoughts about the past and future, the very thoughts that fuel our craving and aversion. Most of us live in a ghost town of memories and a fantasy land of worries. We are rarely here. Mindfulness is the practice of moving your address to the present. It is not about achieving a special state. It is about noticing the ordinary state with extraordinary attention. Try it now. For the next few moments, let your primary focus be the physical sensation of your breath. Don't change it. Just feel the cool air entering, the slight expansion, the warmer air leaving. That's all. Your mind will wander. It will think about this script, your day, a memory. That's normal. The moment you notice it has wandered, gently, without any self-criticism, guide your attention back to the next breath. That noticing and returning is the practice. It is a repetition of a fundamental homecoming. Each return strengthens a neural muscle. You train the mind to dwell in the actual, sensory reality of now, rather than in the stressful narratives of then or maybe. In the present moment, problems often shrink. The anxiety about tomorrow's meeting isn't happening now. The regret from yesterday isn't happening now. What is happening? A breath. A sound. The pressure of your seat. In this simple reality, there is often a profound peace. The mud settles. I learned this from a potter named Silas. His studio was sunlit, smelling of clay. He was at his wheel, a lump of wet clay spinning. His entire being was focused. His hands applied pressure, then relaxed, in a subtle dance. I watched as the formless lump became a beautiful, symmetrical vase. After, I asked, how do you know exactly what to do? When to push, when to pull? Silas smiled. I don't know, he said. I feel. The clay tells me. If I think, now I must make a vase, I will force it, and it will collapse. My mind cannot be on the finished vase. It must be here, he said, pointing to the point of contact between his palm and the earth. I feel the resistance, the give, the moisture. The form emerges from that conversation. If my mind wanders to lunch, the clay wobbles. It demands my full presence. This, he gestured to the wheel, is my meditation. It teaches me that life is like this. You can't shape it from the past or future. You can only respond, with full attention, to what is happening under your hands, in this spin. That is mindfulness in action. A conversation with reality itself. When we practice this, life becomes less a frantic effort to control outcomes, and more a skilled, responsive dance. In that dance, there is a fluid, effortless joy. With a clearer, more present mind, we can examine the very engine of our actions, desire. The teaching here is nuanced. The Buddha distinguished between tanha, the addictive, clinging thirst, and chanda, wise, wholesome intention. Tanha says, I must have that to be happy, leading to suffering if you can't get it, or guilt if you do. Chanda says, I intend to meditate for the peace it brings, or, I wish to help this person. One is a closed fist, trying to possess. The other is an open hand, moving with purpose. The key is to feel the desire and inquire, is this rooted in a sense of lack, in the belief something out there will complete me? Or is it rooted in wisdom and care? We don't kill desire, we educate it. A businessman, Marcus, was burned out. He had wealth, status, but felt hollow. His life was driven by tanha, a hunger for the next deal, the next compliment. We asked him to pause and feel his impulses. Before checking emails for the 10th time, to notice the tightness, the anxiety. He saw his actions were compulsive reactions to discomfort. Then, we planted a seed of chanda. He loved his daughter. What is a wise desire regarding her? He said, to be truly present. So he set the intention. 1 phone-free hour each evening with her. At first, it was agony, the itch to check his phone was physical. But he stayed. Slowly, that hour became his highlight. He wasn't trying to be happy, he was enacting a wise desire. And from that, genuine happiness arose, the happiness of connection. He applied this to work, shifting from closing the deal for my ego to solving a problem well for his client. His work became less stressful. He hadn't renounced the world. He had purified his motivation within it. The same actions, fueled by chanda instead of tanha, produced happiness instead of exhaustion. This mindful realignment of desire naturally softens the heart, leading us to the practice of loving kindness, or metta. This is the heart's natural radiance. It begins with yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Sitting comfortably, offer silent phrases: may I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be peaceful. May I live with ease. Feel them as a warm light. You are planting a seed of unconditional friendliness toward your own being. This can be difficult. We are often our own harshest critics. Persist. When you feel warmth, extend it. Picture someone you love easily: may you be safe, then a neutral person, a cashier. Then, gradually, someone with difficulty. You are not condoning actions. You are acknowledging their shared wish to be free from suffering. You are wishing for the cessation of the fires that drive harm. Metta softens the heart's boundaries. It combats the aversion that agitates our inner pond. A mind filled with metta is a happy mind, because it is not at war. I saw this in Anya, who came to the temple shrouded in bitter cold after a betrayal. Metta felt hollow at first. Then, walking, she saw a spider on a dew-laden web. Instinctive revulsion arose. She paused, remembered metta. Silently, she offered, may you be safe. As she looked, something shifted. She saw the web's intricate architecture, the jewel-like dew, the spider's ancient patience. The ugly creature became part of the morning's tapestry. A crack appeared in her wall. She practiced with everything: the uncomfortable chair, the noisy bird. She was retraining her heart's habit of aversion. Over months, the coldness thawed. She felt a gentle warmth where there had been a knot. She could think of the person who betrayed her without consuming rage. There was sadness, and a glimmer of understanding for their confusion. Her happiness returned as a deep, quiet contentment, a sense of being okay with life as it is. That is the power of metta. It heals by teaching the heart to include. As we cultivate a mind that is present, wisely motivated, and kind, we must also consider the soil in which it grows. Our environment is not a neutral backdrop. It actively shapes the mind. This is why the Buddha placed immense importance on spiritual friendship, or kalyanamittata. He called it the whole of the holy life. This doesn't mean you must join a monastery. It means consciously surrounding yourself, in person or through teachings, with influences that support your intention for peace, kindness, and clarity. It means reducing exposure to the cultural pond that is constantly stirred by greed, hatred, and delusion. My friend, a musician also named Leo, lived in a fast-paced city scene defined by late nights, substance abuse, and cynicism. He felt his peace slipping, his meditation collapsing. He made a difficult, conscious choice. He began spending less time in that agitated environment. He found a small group that met weekly to meditate and discuss. He listened to teachings instead of aggressive talk radio. He didn't condemn his old friends, he recognized their water was too stirred for his own settling process. Gradually, his mind grew calmer. The supportive community provided a mirror for his better nature. Our environment is the soil. We must choose fertile ground. With supportive conditions, we can integrate these teachings into the very rhythm of a day. How do we wake up happy? It is not luck. It is a matter of setting intention and creating conditions the night before and in the first moments of the morning. The last thought before sleep and the first upon waking are potent. They set the tone. Instead of reaching for your phone, a device designed to trigger craving, comparison, and anxiety, try this. Upon waking, before opening your eyes, take 3 conscious breaths. Feel the miracle of breath, of being alive. Then, set a simple intention. Not a goal, but a quality. Today, may I be patient. Today, may I listen deeply. Plant that seed in the fertile ground of the morning mind. Before rising, spend 5 minutes in gratitude. Note 3 simple things: the warmth of the blanket, the roof overhead, the functioning of your senses. This orients the mind towards abundance, not lack. It purifies the mind's initial orientation. Throughout the day, use mindfulness bells, ordinary events as cues to return. The ring of a phone, a red light, opening a door. Let each be a moment for one conscious breath and feeling your feet on the ground. This prevents thick layers of stressful narrative from building. In the evening, a gentle review. Not judgment, but curious reflection. When did I feel most peaceful? What triggered agitation? Did I act on tanha or chanda? Gather data without blame. Then, perhaps, a short metta practice before sleep. This rhythmic application turns philosophy into lived experience. It builds the mental habits of happiness. Let me tell you about David, a stressed financial analyst. His mornings began with a jolt, checking market news, heart racing. Evenings were for numbing out. He committed to this daily rhythm for a month. The first week felt forced. But he persisted. He used an old alarm clock. Upon waking, he'd breathe and set an intention: today, may I be calm. He used red lights as cues to breathe and notice the sky. He ate lunch without screens. His evening review showed patterns. Anxiety spiked before client calls, irritation peaked when hungry. With this self-knowledge, he made small changes. 3 breaths before a call. Healthy snacks at his desk. After a month, his wife said he seemed lighter. He realized he hadn't yelled in traffic in weeks. One morning, he woke up, took his breaths, and felt a steady, quiet well-being. The market could crash, and he knew he'd handle it from clarity, not panic. That was his happiness, the happiness of self-mastery, of no longer being a puppet to external triggers. He had found the source within. This brings us to a deeper, often misunderstood teaching, the concept of emptiness, or samatha. This is not nihilism. It is the doorway to ultimate freedom. Emptiness does not mean things don't exist. It means they lack inherent, independent existence. Everything arises in dependence on conditions. A tree is empty of separate tree-ness. It is wholly made of non-tree elements: sunlight, soil, water, air. Tree is a label for a temporary coming together. You are empty of a separate, solid self. You are a flowing process of body, mind, memories, all dependent on countless causes: your parents, your food, the air, your culture. Seeing this emptiness is the final blow to the sense of a separate self that grasps and suffers. When you deeply realize this, a burden lifts. You no longer need to defend this fragile illusion. You relax into the flow of interdependent existence. Your happiness is no longer personal, it is the happiness of the whole universe expressing itself through this temporary constellation called you. Your actions become spontaneous compassion, because harming another is, literally, harming a part of the interconnected whole that you also are. I'll share a story about a weaver named Kira. She made magnificent tapestries, each thread perfectly placed to form a grand image. She took immense pride in her control, her design. One day, a series of mistakes, a spilled dye pot, a snapped thread, ruined her months-long work. The central image was a chaotic smear. She was heartbroken, seeing only ruin. For days, she couldn't enter her studio. When she finally did, she sat before the ruined tapestry. Instead of seeing a failed picture, she forced herself to just see the threads, their colors, their textures, how they crossed and supported one another. She saw that the mistake had created an unexpected, beautiful interplay of color in one corner. The tapestry wasn't her intended image, but it was still a complex, interconnected web. A single thread, followed, led to every other part. In that moment, she saw emptiness. There was no perfect, independent tapestry to be ruined. There was only an ever-changing relationship of threads, conditions, and her own perception. The value wasn't in the frozen image she had planned, but in the alive, interdependent reality of the weave itself. She left the tapestry as it was, hanging it in her studio as a reminder. Her work afterward became freer, more joyful, less about imposing a separate vision and more about participating in the unfolding relationship of materials. She found happiness not in perfect products, but in the interconnected process of creation itself. Let me share another story from my own life, one that taught me about the deep connection between stillness and insight. Many years ago, I spent a winter in a small hermitage high in the mountains. The silence there was not just an absence of sound, it was a living presence. One particularly cold night, a fierce storm blew in. The wind howled like a wounded animal, shaking the small building and rattling the shutters. I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with thoughts of the roof tearing off, of being buried in snow, of isolation. I tried to meditate, but the noise was overwhelming. Then I remembered something my first teacher had said: when you cannot find silence, become silence. I stopped fighting the storm. Instead, I turned my attention inward and began to simply observe the fear itself. Where did I feel it in my body? A tightness in my chest. A clenching in my gut. I stayed with those sensations, breathing into them, not trying to change them. Gradually, something remarkable happened. The storm outside didn't quiet, if anything, it grew louder, but the storm inside me began to settle. The tightness softened. The clenching released. I became aware that there was a part of me simply witnessing both the external storm and my internal reactions to it. This witness wasn't afraid. It wasn't cold. It was just aware. Present. In that moment, the boundary between me and the storm dissolved. There was just the dance of elements: wind, snow, wood, breath, awareness, all part of one magnificent, wild expression of nature. When dawn came, the storm had passed, leaving a world transformed under pristine snow. My little hermitage stood intact. But something in me had been transformed too. I had touched that place within that isn't disturbed by changing conditions. That place is always available to us, whether we're facing literal storms or the emotional and mental storms of daily life. The practice is to remember it's there, and to turn our attention inward to that silent witness, that pure awareness that observes without being tossed about by what it observes. This brings us to an essential practice, resting in awareness itself. Most of our suffering comes from identifying with the content of our mind, the thoughts, emotions, and sensations, rather than recognizing the space in which they appear. Imagine you're watching clouds drift across the sky. If you identify with a particular dark cloud, you might feel stormy and heavy. But if you remember you are the sky, vast, clear, and unchanging, the cloud is just a passing weather pattern. You are not the weather, you are the space that holds it. Try this now. For a few moments, shift your attention from whatever thoughts or feelings are present to the awareness that knows those thoughts and feelings. Don't try to change what you're aware of. Simply notice that you are aware. There's a knowing presence here. That presence is not happy or sad, tense or relaxed. It simply is. Rest as that knowing presence. Let thoughts come and go like birds flying through a vast sky. You are not the birds. You are the sky. This practice of recognizing awareness is subtle but profound. Each time you remember, in the middle of an argument, while stuck in traffic, when anxiety arises, you create a gap between the pure knowing and the conditioned reaction. In that gap, freedom lives. In that gap, you have a choice. You can continue to be swept away by the story, or you can rest as the aware space that holds it all. This is the essence of mindfulness taken to its deepest level. Not just being present with experience, but recognizing the presence that is always already here. As we learn to rest in this awareness, we naturally begin to see the patterns of our life more clearly. We notice how certain thoughts lead to certain feelings, which lead to certain actions, which create certain results. This is the law of karma in its most practical sense, not as fate or punishment, but as the natural principle of cause and effect. Every thought, word, and action is a seed planted. The quality of our mind in this moment determines the fruit we will taste in future moments. A student once came to me feeling trapped in a cycle of resentment at work. Every interaction with a certain colleague left him seething. He felt like a victim of this person's behavior. We explored his karma, not his colleagues', but his own. What seed was he planting when he rehearsed grievances in his mind? What fruit was he creating for his own mental state? He saw that by feeding his anger, he was creating more suffering for himself, regardless of what his colleague did. His practice became to notice the arising of resentment and, instead of following the familiar story, to plant a different seed. Sometimes that seed was a conscious breath. Sometimes it was a silent wish for his colleague's well-being. Sometimes it was simply acknowledging, this is anger. It is arising. It will pass. He wasn't denying his feelings, he was changing his relationship to them. Gradually, the cycle weakened. The colleague's behavior didn't dramatically change, but my student's suffering did. He discovered he had always held the watering can for his own mental garden. This is the power of understanding karma, it returns agency to us. We are not passive victims of circumstance, but active participants in creating our inner world. This understanding naturally extends to how we relate to difficulty. In Buddhism, obstacles are not seen as interruptions to the path, they are the path. They are the very material we work with. A sculptor does not complain about the hardness of the marble, it is the necessary resistance that allows form to emerge. Similarly, our challenges, the difficult person, the failed plan, the personal loss, are not mistakes in the universe's design. They are our marble. I think of a gardener I knew named Sam. He carefully planned a plot for roses, his favorite flower. He prepared the soil, planted the bulbs, and tended them daily. But that year, only weeds seemed to thrive. No roses bloomed. He was disappointed, nearly giving up. An older gardener told him, "Don't fight the weeds. Study them. What are they telling you about the soil? The light? The water?" Sam shifted his approach. He began tending the weeds with curiosity, learning from them. He discovered the soil was too acidic for roses, but perfect for blueberries and certain herbs he'd never considered. By working with the apparent obstacle, he discovered a bounty he would have otherwise missed. His garden became more diverse, resilient, and ultimately more joyful for him. Our mental and emotional weeds, fear, doubt, anger, are also messengers. They point to conditions in the inner soil that need attention. When we meet them with curious, compassionate inquiry rather than rejection, they often reveal gifts and insights we would have otherwise overlooked. As we learn to work with our inner garden, we must also cultivate patience. In our modern world, we're conditioned for immediacy. We want quick fixes, instant results, and rapid growth. But the deepest transformations in nature, the forming of a canyon, the growth of an ancient tree, the turning of seasons, happen on a timeline that defies our hurry. The Buddha's path is one of gradual cultivation. We plant seeds of wholesome qualities with no guarantee of when or even if they will sprout. Our job is simply to tend the soil with faith and patience. I remember a man named Thomas who came to meditation expecting immediate enlightenment. He practiced with intense effort for months, growing increasingly frustrated. "I'm still getting angry," he told me. "I still have greedy thoughts. When will I be peaceful?" I asked him to walk with me to a bamboo grove behind the temple. I pointed to a small, green shoot just breaking the soil. "This bamboo was planted 4 years ago," I said. For the first 3 years, nothing appeared above ground. All the growth was happening invisibly, in the root system deep in the earth. Then, in the 4th year, it began to shoot up several feet in just weeks. Thomas looked skeptical. "Your practice is like this," I continued. "The moments of patience, the breaths of mindfulness, the small acts of kindness, they are building an invisible root system of stability and wisdom. You cannot see it, and it feels like nothing is happening. But one day, when conditions are right, the growth will become visible. You will find yourself responding to old triggers with new calm. The peace will feel sudden, but it was always growing underground. Trust the unseen growth." Patience is the willingness to be present with the process, not just the outcome. It is the antidote to the agitation of wanting things to be different right now. When we practice patience, we align ourselves with the rhythm of life itself, which is never in a rush, yet always arrives exactly on time. This quality of patience is intimately connected with another, equanimity. Equanimity is not indifference. It is not a cold, emotionless state. It is a balanced heart, a mind that remains undisturbed by the inevitable ups and downs of life. It is the ability to hold both joy and sorrow without being overthrown by either. The Buddha compared it to the depths of the ocean. While waves may rage on the surface, the deep waters remain still and unmoved. Cultivating equanimity begins with recognizing the natural law of change. Everything that arises will pass. Pleasant feelings will fade. Unpleasant feelings will dissolve. Success comes and goes. Failure comes and goes. Praise and blame, gain and loss, they are all visitors, not permanent residents. When we deeply understand this, we stop clinging so desperately to the pleasant and resisting so fiercely the unpleasant. We learn to greet all experience with a wise, gentle openness, knowing it is part of the flow. Let me tell you about Clara, a violinist. Her entire sense of worth was tied to her performances. A glowing review would send her soaring for days. A critical comment would plunge her into despair. Her emotional life was a roller coaster. She began to study the principle of equanimity. She started a simple practice. After each performance, whether met with applause or silence, she would take a quiet moment alone. She would place her hand on her heart and say, "This too is part of the music." She wasn't dismissing her feelings, but placing them in a larger context. She began to see her performances not as verdicts on her worth, but as offerings, moments of shared humanity that were inherently complete, regardless of the audience's reaction. Over time, the extreme highs and lows softened. She found a steady, quiet joy in the practice itself, the daily communion with the instrument, that was independent of external results. Her playing, freed from the burden of desperate need, became more expressive and authentic than ever before. Equanimity allows us to engage fully with life without being burned by its fire or drowned by its waves. It is the foundation for compassionate action that is wise and sustainable, not reactive and exhausting. Now, let's turn to one of the most powerful frames for understanding our experience, the Four Noble Truths. This is the cornerstone of the Buddha's teaching, and it provides a practical map from suffering to freedom. The first noble truth is often translated as, "Life is suffering," but this is misleading. A better translation is, "There is suffering," or "stress exists." It is the simple, honest acknowledgement that life includes discomfort, loss, pain, and dissatisfaction. This is not pessimistic, it is realistic. To deny this truth is to live in a fantasy. The Buddha asks us to look directly at the reality of suffering, in our own lives and in the world, with clear eyes. The second noble truth identifies the cause of suffering, craving. That thirst, tanha, we discussed earlier, the wanting, the clinging, the pushing away. We suffer not because pain exists, but because we demand that pain not exist and pleasure last forever. We add a layer of mental resistance to the raw experience of life. The third noble truth is the good news: there is an end to suffering. It is possible. This end is nibbana, the cessation of craving, the cooling of the fires. The possibility of liberation is not a philosophical idea but an attainable reality. The fourth noble truth is the path that leads to the end of suffering, the Noble Eightfold Path. This is the practical guide. It's not 8 sequential steps, but 8 interconnected aspects of a life lived wisely: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Think of it as a wheel, not a ladder. All spokes are needed for the wheel to turn. Ethical conduct, speech, action, livelihood, stabilizes our outer life. Mental discipline, effort, mindfulness, concentration, stabilizes our inner life. And wisdom, view, intention, illuminates the entire journey. We work on all aspects simultaneously. You don't have to be perfectly ethical before you begin to meditate. You don't have to be a meditation master to act kindly. The path is an integrated, holistic training of body, speech, and mind. For instance, right livelihood doesn't necessarily mean you must quit your job today. It begins with bringing mindful inquiry to your work. Does this work cause harm? Does it cultivate generosity or greed? Does it allow me to be present? Small, conscious adjustments towards greater integrity in how you earn your living become part of the path. Right speech isn't about never speaking. It's about bringing care and honesty to communication, learning to pause before reacting, to listen more than you speak. The Eightfold Path is not a rigid set of rules, but a framework for compassionate inquiry into every moment of our lives. It asks, is this thought, word, or action leading toward peace and understanding, or toward agitation and suffering? It is the detailed map for the journey from the muddy pond to the clear water. Living the Eightfold Path brings us into a beautiful alignment with what is wholesome. But to sustain this, we must learn to guard the senses. This doesn't mean withdrawing from the world or pretending not to see or hear. It means bringing wise attention to what we allow into the gateways of our perception. Our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind are constantly receiving input. Each impression is like a seed planted in the field of our consciousness. If we are not careful, we can allow the field to become overrun with weeds. The Buddha used the analogy of a cowherd guarding his cattle at night. He doesn't ignore the cattle or fight them, he simply keeps them within a safe pasture where they cannot wander into the farmer's crops. Similarly, we can learn to guard our senses. This means noticing when we are mindlessly scrolling through news or social media that stirs up agitation. It means being aware when a conversation is moving toward gossip or complaint and gently steering it, or choosing to step away. It means noticing the desire for a second or third serving of food not out of hunger, but out of habit or avoidance. Guarding the senses is the practice of mindful consumption, of media, of conversation, of food, of all sensory experience. This is not about creating a sterile life, but an intentional one. It's the difference between leaving your front door wide open for anyone or anything to wander in, and having a welcoming porch where you can choose what to invite into your home. You still live in the neighborhood, you're just more conscious of your boundaries. When we guard our senses, we create the inner conditions for the seeds of peace we've been planting to actually take root and grow. We protect the clarity of our pond from unnecessary agitation. From this place of protected clarity, we can engage in a profound reflection on the nature of the body. The Buddha encouraged contemplations on the body not to create disgust, but to cut through our vanity and our deep-seated identification with physical form. We spend immense energy adorning, protecting, and worrying about this body. We see it as me and mine. But if we look with clear eyes, we see it for what it is. A temporary assemblage of elements, constantly changing, subject to decay, and not under our ultimate control. One powerful practice is to reflect on the body's material composition. It is made up of earth, water, fire, and air. The solidity, flesh, bones, teeth, is the earth element. The fluids, blood, saliva, lymph, are the water element. The warmth and digestive energy are the fire element. The breath and movement are the air element. This body is not a self, it is a process of nature. You do not own the earth, water, fire, and air, you are their temporary meeting place. This reflection is not morbid, it is liberating. It loosens the tight grip of identification and the fear that comes with it. When we see the body as a natural process, we can care for it with kindness and respect, without the added suffering of clinging to its appearance or fearing its inevitable changes. I knew a dancer named Maya who lived for the perfection and praise of her body. An injury ended her career, and she fell into a deep depression, feeling she had lost her identity. At the temple, she was guided through this contemplation. At first, it felt terrifying, to see her beloved instrument as just elements. But as she stayed with it, a strange peace emerged. I was trying to make a statue out of a river, she said. I was trying to freeze something that was designed to flow. When I saw that this body was always just water flowing and earth settling and energy burning, I felt a relief. The injury wasn't a personal failure. It was just part of the flow. Now I can care for this river body with more compassion, because I'm not at war with its nature anymore. Her happiness was no longer contingent on the body performing, but on her ability to be in harmony with its true, impermanent nature. This understanding of impermanence, or anicca, is the thread that runs through all of the Buddhist teachings. Everything that has a beginning has an end. Every thought, every feeling, every sensation, every situation, every life. This is not a cause for despair, but the very key to freedom. Our suffering arises because we act as if things were permanent. We cling to relationships, to youth, to health, to moments of joy, as if we could make them stay. We resist aging, loss, and change as if they were enemies. But when we open to the truth of anicca, our relationship with life transforms. Impermanence is the reason we can change, grow, and learn. It is the space in which forgiveness is possible, because yesterday's mistake is gone. It is the reason we should cherish this moment, because it will never come again. It is the engine of compassion, because we see that everyone we meet is also subject to this law, fighting their own battles against loss and change. When we stop fighting impermanence, we begin to dance with it. We learn to hold things lightly, to appreciate them deeply precisely because they are fleeting. Consider the cherry blossom. In Japanese culture, its beauty is revered precisely because it is so brief. Its transience is not a flaw, it is the source of its poignant beauty. Our lives, our relationships, our experiences are all cherry blossoms. Their beauty is inseparable from their impermanence. To wish them to be otherwise is to miss their essence entirely. When we embrace anicca, we stop trying to build castles in the sand as the tide is coming in. Instead, we learn the art of making beautiful, temporary sand sculptures, enjoying the process of creation, and letting go with a smile when the wave gently washes it all away. This is the happiness of non-attachment. Not cold detachment, but a loving, engaged participation that is free from the anxiety of clinging. With the understanding of impermanence as our foundation, we can explore one of the most transformative and challenging aspects of the path, working with pain. Physical pain, emotional pain, the pain of loss, these are not signs of failure on the spiritual path. They are part of the human experience. The Buddha's teaching does not promise a life free of pain. It offers a way to be free from the suffering we add to pain through our resistance and our stories. There is a crucial distinction here. Pain is a sensory experience, a signal from the nervous system. Suffering is our mental and emotional reaction to that signal, the "I can't stand this," the "why me," the fear of the future, the regret of the past. Suffering is optional. It is the second arrow. The Buddha said, when touched with a feeling of pain, the uninstructed person sorrows, grieves, and laments. Such a person feels two pains, physical and mental. It is as if a person were pierced by an arrow and, following the first arrow, is pierced by a second. Our practice is to learn to feel the first arrow, the raw sensation of pain, without allowing the mind to shoot the second arrow of suffering on top of it. This is not a theory. It is a skill that can be developed. It begins with bringing mindfulness to the actual physical sensations of discomfort, without the overlay of the story. If you have a headache, instead of thinking, "This is terrible, it's ruining my day, what if it never goes away?" you simply feel the throbbing, the pressure, the heat. You investigate it with curiosity. Where exactly is it? Does it have a boundary? Is it constant or pulsating? You drop below the level of thought and meet the pure sensation. In that meeting, something often shifts. The pain may not disappear, but your relationship to it changes. It becomes just another passing phenomenon in the field of awareness, not the central dictator of your experience. I worked with a woman named Grace who had chronic back pain. She was angry, exhausted, and defined by her condition. We began a practice of befriending the sensation. For 5 minutes each hour, she would lie down and, instead of fighting the pain, she would direct her breath toward the area with kindness, as if soothing a crying child. She would mentally whisper, "I know you're here. It's okay." This wasn't about making the pain go away, it was about changing the war into a relationship. Over weeks, her reports changed. "The pain is still there," she said one day, "but the hurt is less. The tight knot of resistance around it is loosening. I feel more space." Eventually, she discovered that much of her exhaustion came not from the pain itself, but from the constant, tense battle against it. When she ceased the battle, she found reserves of energy and peace she didn't know she had. The first arrow remained, she simply stopped firing the second one at herself. This approach extends to emotional pain. Heartbreak, grief, anxiety, these are mental pains. We can apply the same principle, meet the feeling in the body. Where do you feel the grief? A hollow in the chest? A weight on the shoulders? Breathe into that space. Hold it with your awareness. Say, "This is grief. It is here." By giving it space without judgment, you allow it to move through you like weather, rather than getting stuck as a permanent state of being. This is the alchemy of mindfulness, transforming suffering back into its basic components of mere sensation and feeling, which, like all conditioned things, arise and pass away. Now, let's turn our gaze outward, to the foundation of our ethical life, the precepts. In Buddhism, These are not commandments from a deity, but training rules we undertake voluntarily for our own well-being and the well-being of others. They are the fence that protects the garden of our mind. The 5 basic precepts are, to refrain from taking life, from taking what is not given, from sexual misconduct, from false speech, and from intoxication that clouds the mind. We can see these not as restrictions, but as expressions of our deepest intentions. The first precept, non-harming, springs from the understanding of interconnectedness. To harm another is, in a very real sense, to harm oneself, because the separation between self and other is an illusion. This precept naturally extends to kindness toward all living beings, including ourselves. How often do we harm ourselves with harsh thoughts and self-neglect? The precept of not taking what is not given cultivates contentment and trust. It asks us to examine our relationship with resources, with credit, with intellectual property. It invites us to live so that others feel safe around us. The precept of sexual responsibility is about bringing mindfulness and care into one of the most powerful areas of human life, ensuring our actions do not cause harm or exploitation. The precept of truthful speech is about integrity. It creates a life where our inner and outer worlds align. We don't have to remember lies or manipulate. We can stand in the simplicity of what is true. The precept of mindful consumption guards the mind at its most vulnerable point. When the mind is clouded by intoxicants, our ability to practice mindfulness, to keep the other precepts, and to see reality clearly is compromised. Living by these precepts is not about being perfect. It is about setting a direction. When we inevitably stumble, we note it with gentle awareness, understand the cause, reaffirm our intention, and begin again. This very process of noticing, correcting, and renewing intention is the practice. It builds moral strength and inner clarity. A life lived in alignment with these principles creates a profound inner peace, the peace of knowing you are not causing harm, you are living with integrity, and you are creating safety and trust in your circle of the world. This peace is a powerful contributor to waking up happy. Let me tell you about a carpenter named Ben. He ran a small business and often felt tempted to cut corners, use cheaper materials, or fudge timelines to maximize profit. He lived with a low-grade anxiety, a fear of being caught, and a dim sense of shame. After committing to the precepts as a personal experiment, he decided to change his business model completely. He would be transparent about costs, use only quality materials, give realistic timelines, and honor his word exactly. The first few months were financially tight. He lost some clients who wanted a faster, cheaper job. But something else happened. He slept deeply for the first time in years. He looked his family in the eye without a hidden tension. The clients who stayed became fiercely loyal, referring others. Over time, his reputation as the most honest craftsman in town grew, and his business became more sustainable and prosperous than it ever was during his cut-corner days. But more importantly, he said, "I come home clean. I used to bring the dirt of my compromises home with me. Now I bring peace. That's the real profit." His happiness was built on the bedrock of integrity. Our journey together now draws to a close, but this is truly where your own path begins. We have walked through many landscapes of the heart and mind, from the muddy pond to the clear sky of awareness, from the clenched fist of craving to the open hand of generosity, from the heavy burden of resentment to the lightness of forgiveness. We have seen how the mind, when purified through practices like mindfulness, loving kindness, and ethical living, reveals a happiness that does not depend on external conditions. This happiness is your birthright. It is not something to be manufactured, but something to be uncovered. Each morning offers a pristine opportunity to begin again, to set the intention to live from this place of clarity and care. Remember the simple rhythm: wake with breath and gratitude, move through the day with mindful presence, and close the evening with gentle reflection. This rhythm aligns you with the natural peace within. The Buddha's teachings are not a philosophy to be believed, but a manual to be used. A map is only valuable if you walk the terrain. So I invite you, in the days and weeks to come, to take one thing from our time together and live it. Perhaps it is the practice of pausing before reacting. Perhaps it is offering one genuine act of generosity without expectation. Perhaps it is simply sitting for 5 minutes each morning, feeling the breath, and remembering you are the sky, not the passing clouds. Do not be discouraged by the mind's old habits. The muddy pond will be stirred again. This is not failure, it is the material of your practice. Each time you notice the agitation and choose to step back onto the bank of awareness, you strengthen your freedom. This is the path, a continuous, loving return to presence. From all of us here at Monk's Temple, we thank you for sharing this time in stillness and exploration. We are a community dedicated to this quiet remembering. If you feel supported by these teachings, we welcome you to subscribe and join us as we continue to share these conversations from the heart. But more than anything, we wish for you to carry this peace into your world. You are not just seeking happiness, you are learning to embody it. You are not just finding peace, you are becoming a sanctuary of peace for others. As you cultivate a quiet mind, you offer a priceless gift to everyone you meet. So go gently. Walk with patience. Meet each moment, whether sweet or bitter, with an open heart. The happiness you seek has been within you all along, waiting for the noise to settle so it can shine through. May you be well. May you be happy. May you be free from suffering. May you live with ease. Good night, and may you wake up happy.